It says, box office, Top Gun 2 scores record $90 million second weekend, crosses $550 million globally. And that second number I actually think is very, very important here. Because one of the things that they talk about a lot is that people were complaining about the kind of raw Americanism of the movie, right? Which there was a lot of articles starting to come out like because American journalists wanting a pro-America movie is like not even possible in the year 2020.
It was rather understated, but you would understand why, because people are so sensitive to that these days.
And it's the American military. There has to be at least some. It's so weird because it seems to be a uniquely American thing to be anti your own country these days,
or at least anti your own military.
Yeah. So it says Top Gun Maverick is enjoying the lowest drop in history. So it's the lowest drop in. When they mean by drop is like how much did it make in week 1 to week 2? Like obviously it's going to be less. This is the lowest drop ever for a box office film.
Hey, sorry, before we get any deeper, I'm hearing from chat a lot that me and Mary are low.
Oh,
are you? Okay. All right.
Sorry, guys. See, we take your input.
Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't sure if they were saying, like,
go for
everyone was low.
Keep going.
I'm talking, and we are checking my audio right now.
Dane?
Yo, this is Dane Font on Pop
It's
Culture
Morbin
Crisis.
time.
Good.
I mean, I think so, yeah. Chat, let us know if we're good, please.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going for it. Hopefully that's better. Good?
Yep.
All right. So it says the Paramount Skydance tentpole starring Tom Cruise is doing massive business in its second weekend at the box office. The sequel earned $90 million to boast the smallest decline ever, just 29%, and that's even lower than I thought. Before, the one I got earlier was 32% box office drop from week 1 to week 2, and that's the smallest for a film opening domestically to $100 million or more. Shrek 2 opened to $108 million and only fell 33%. I don't know how long ago Shrek 2 was, but that was a long time ago.
How long does it have in the box office?
120 days. I looked it up.
How long has it been so far?
It's only been 2 weeks. So this film has a 120-day theater exclusive before it can go to Paramount Plus. So it's going to get its money worth. I would hope to see. It would be cool to me if this movie became Tom Cruise's first billion-dollar box office film.
It would be cool, even though I'm cynical about this, to see a movie that's doing successfully that is decidedly not just packed full of messaging.
Yep. And I think that's why it seems like the messaging is almost exclusively for American audiences these days, because we seem to be the country that seems to be struggling with that kind of whether it's political correctness, whether it's your quote unquote wokeism, though I hate that term.
I mean, I can't help but feel like there must have been a lot of people involved in the making of this movie who wanted to take it into that direction.
Oh, I'm sure. But Jerry Bruckheimer, who's the producer on this movie and also produced the original, is kind of an old school Hollywood dude. So at the very least, even if he was amenable to that, I think the rest of, whether it's Kaniski, the guy who directed it, and Tom Cruise wanting to keep it, because most of Tom Cruise's movies are fairly nondescript as far as actual messaging. Mission Impossible movies don't really have much messaging in them at all.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. What is like the metric where you're like, this is a good sales movie?
What do you mean?
What's usually the number? Like 50 million on a weekend?
Did you say like $1 billion domestically or globally?
I would love to see it. Well, no, yeah, seeing it make $1 billion overall would be fantastic to me.
That's generally, it seems like, what they're shooting for.
But like, what's like the metric where like this movie was successful?
Well, it's already made its money back, I'm sure, or at least it's getting close to making its money back, and that's the most important metric, I think, for all of it. And it's already well above where the old movie went as well, which is also very, making more than what the original.
That's telling of word of mouth, because I've been telling people to go see it.
Yes. Okay, so that's the other thing I wanted to mention is this is Tom Cruise's highest-grossing domestic film of all time, but it's also it's almost doing as big internationally. So it's a $296 million here in the U.S., 257 overseas, which is kind of a commentary on the ability for a movie with universal themes, meaning non-politically correct, non-current year themes, to reach an audience greater than just that of its home country.
It wasn't even specifically like, oh, it's politically incorrect. It's just not
propaganda.
Yeah, it's just not propaganda, which is so crazy that,
there it goes.
Like, that's what we expect every time. Now it's a surprise when it's not that.
Wowzers.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so it says internationally, Top Gun is already well ahead of the $176 million earned by the original film, and that's not just adjusted for inflation, which is also an important number here. All these numbers that they're giving for this film are not adjusted for inflation, meaning that it's doing good even without adjusting the figures there. And it says that let's see down here. It says in North America, Top Gun is the playing field largely to itself next week, and then next weekend when Jurassic World Dominion comes out, and we are going to go see that and talk about that movie with Chris Pratt. So I do think that that's also good that more movies, like most Chris Pratt movies, are also.
I mean, I thought it looked really stupid in the trailer.
I love stupid movies from time to time. That doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me one bit. So it says, okay, so we'll go down here a little bit further. It says internationally, Top Gun Maverick is already well ahead of the $176 million. The UK leads with $39.7 million. I actually got a couple of messages from people from the UK who said that they really liked it, and that the military themes are kind of universal to every country, has their own, a form of patriotism shouldn't be looked at as something that's a negative. It should just be looked at as something that is a factor of life in your country. And I don't think this movie pushes necessarily a military message. It just pushes like a message between people in different situations. And there's a lot, it's got more to do with the relationships of the people than it does the American military. But I also want to talk about Morbius, which is, I have a question. I have a question. I want to know, in the age we live in, is it possible for corporations as large as, in this case, Sony or Disney or Paramount, can they really understand something as democratized as the internet? Because they misread this, and Sony has done very well in the last year, whether you want to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, Spider-Man No Way Home.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so they see this meme campaign saying it's Morbin time, and they think, and they don't understand that doesn't mean that people want to go back into the theaters.
Yeah,
to see
they
it.
didn't understand that was mocking the movie because nobody actually liked it.
Is it possible for a corporation that size to really understand something as individually based as the internet? Does that make sense?
I mean, at first I was thinking the meme campaign was
Thank you.
Actually just being put on like dead internet.
Yeah, by
like,
bots.
as just like a psyop by Sony. Like I literally thought that they were like, yikes, this kind of tanked. Maybe we can like stoke the flames with some like fake viral media campaign.
But then they would need more proof that beyond the fake viral media campaign that they started, they would need proof that it actually
caught on.
Yes, exactly.
And I never felt like it did because I never saw these memes, and I like to think I am up to date
Same.
on like what's going on the internet, like internet culture, and I did not see any of this. I see people talking about it. It just seems very astroturfed.
So
Mary's the official Timcast meme star.
I'm the meme expert. I don't know if I want to take that on though.
I'm just here for the memes.
So
I'm no Benny Johnson.
Here's the thing. People have in the past watched things to hate on them. Mm-hmm. And this movie, I'm sure this guy didn't come cheap.
Leto? No, I'm sure he doesn't.
So they have to make up the money somehow. If it's him just like taking egg in the face and be like, haha, it's Morbin time, and saying things where he knows absolutely where they're clowning him, I think that's the direction they're going. They're just like trying in any...
Thank you.
Sorry, it always freaks me out. They're just trying in any way possible to like pretty much like make up the deficit that they've had with this like movie.
Yeah. So, but it says Jared Leto's film was re-released in over 1,000 theaters across the United States, earning just $85,000. That's all it was able to pull in over 1,000 theaters, and $280,000 over the weekend. So
what did they think was gonna happen?
I have no idea, dude.
This is actually just more embarrassing for them.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sony has done, whether we're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, whether we're talking about all the variant, what was the other one that they had, and they did fairly well with, I almost said Sonic, but Sonic was Paramount. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then they also had Spider-Man No Way Home. Like you'd think that a studio that seems to be catching on as to giving the fans what they want, meaning like with Ghostbusters Afterlife was both a good sequel, and actually that's funny because remember last week we were talking about, I think it was on Friday, we were talking about what's a good example of a movie that had a sequel made like many years later that actually didn't end up being awful.
The Godfather.
Well, but I'm like Spider-Man, Ghostbusters Afterlife is an example of that, and Sony made that movie. So they clearly understand that they know what to give fans what they want, but they just couldn't read the room as far as this marketing campaign and didn't realize that it wasn't going to actually be something that was going to catch on and get more people back to the theaters.
Here's my opinion on how you give fans what they want. I think you give the way to do fan service is you have to do it subtly, because the fan has to understand that, like, oh, this actually means that, and I know it because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Anyone that is just peripheral, oh, that word's really hard for me. Can you say it?
Peripheral?
Peripherally?
Yeah. Anyone that's
Yeah.
peripherally watching won't get it. Thus, you know, it makes them feel like they belong, like a little extra.
Yeah.
But like the movies that are doing what's it called, fan service right now is Star Wars, where like, and
it's not even fan service because the fans dislike it.
Right. Yep. I mean, some do. Some are like, actually, it's part of the lore for Chewbacca to be ordering a sandwich at Arby's.
They think anything that is like possibly, like vaguely reconcilable with the source material is just like a good idea to include, and that doesn't. Like
and we do have the moment that the meme killed itself. We can listen to that here. Beware, I don't know how the audio is going to sound here, but let's give this a shot here. So this was when Jared Leto killed the meme.
A moment of silence for a meme dying.
Nothing really. Just no. Reading. No. Oh, well.
Yep. So
bro thought he was in on the joke.
Yeah, he's not in on. He's not in on the joke.
For those listening, not watching, he was pretending to read the script for a sequel to Morbius called "It's Morbin Time."
And the name of the writer was Bartholomew Cubbins, which might be my new pen name after today. I might actually take that. That might be the only funny part of that whole thing.
Unintentionally.
And then the first response just says, "And the meme is dead."
Yeah.
The joke is now dead.
So the meme was always, if it was ever real in the first place, it was that Morbius is the butt of the joke.
Yes. It's just like, hey, fellow kids, you like memes?
Yep.
You know,
memes?
Do you like memes? Like they just don't get it.
So I just want to finish up and say that $291 million for Top Gun Maverick at only a 32% drop. That number was later amended by The Hollywood Reporter. I don't know how accurate that is. I can't prove either one right or wrong. The other one said 29% pulled in. So that's 86. Thank you.
Thanks.
An $86 million weekend. That's 291 total, and it's only on week 2, and that does have a theater life of 120 days. So that's going to get many more weekends. And if it does, like you said, Mary, earlier, you mentioned word of mouth is important. With strong word of mouth and an audience that wants to show up for it, there's something to be said. This could be a $1 billion movie by the time it's done.
How do you think you get word of mouth, though?
Say it again.
Well, like what are the factors that achieve word of mouth?
In this case, I think that it's not just. First of all, one of the best ways to start it off, oddly enough, isn't through the general public, but it's when the studio allows the reviewers to review early. Automatically increases chances of good word of mouth, because most people who pay attention to reviewers know that the later that a studio puts a review embargo down, meaning that they prevent you from releasing a review for the public, the longer they hold that review, the less likely it is that the movie's good, because it means that they don't have anything good to say about it. They don't want you hearing it until the very last minute. So they were allowing reviews of Top Gun Maverick 2 weeks before the movie came out. And I think that, on top of the fact that Tom Cruise did his speech at the beginning of the movie, where he thanked people for coming out to the film, and it felt organic, that all the good positive press I was seeing about it after that initial piece was all from regular people, not from websites, not from geek accounts or whatever you want.
And that excluding the Kelly McGinnis, is that her name?
McGillis.
Yeah. talking about how she wasn't invited back.
And she didn't even really seem negative about it. She
Yeah.
just kind of seemed like matter of fact
It was
over
other
what was
people
going
who
on.
were making it a bigger deal than it was.
Yes, and there had been some negative pushback afterwards with articles that are like angry at the pro-America message, which of course is ridiculous.
When I think of like people like spreading like God, I'm forgetting terms. Like the reputation of a movie amongst their friends, right? Like word of mouth. Oh my God, that was Dane trying to say word of mouth. Yep. So when I see people trying to spread word of mouth, I think hipsters, right? Okay. So I think that
Thank you.
It's like almost the inverse of a hipster. Is that I know this and I want to be known as the person who shared this with my friend. You know, it's like I saw the movie and like I see Brett every day and like, hey Brett, hey Dane. And like, Brett, you gotta go watch this movie. I know you'll love it. Because like, he's my friend and he'll associate me with the process of enjoying the movie. And then we can have a moment, right? And like, I feel like that can be done for movies that don't pander. Because it could be like, hey, they have, like in the movie, maybe they have this like internal joke. And it's similar to an internal joke that you and I would have. Yeah. They'd be like, oh my God, Mary, watch this movie. Like, you'll get it completely. Like, remember. That's how word of mouth, I think, organically spreads. But like the way that the woke mafia is trying to do is like, you have to watch this movie because it's the representative of X, Y's, and C's. And it's like, you know what? Like
there's also a different tone to it. Like, okay, like I don't ever talk about like as much as we talk here. I don't ever talk about stuff that I don't like on my like the closest thing I could say that to giving something a negative review that I've done lately is I posted something about how I didn't think the show We Own the City lived up to the predecessor work of David Simon on The Wire, and that's about as close to me being negative on social media about a movie is. Like I'll say something like maybe I didn't like it that much, but in this case I don't say much positive either unless it's really positive, unless it's something that really speaks to me. And I made several posts about Top Gun Maverick. That's what I think of as organic word of mouth, meaning that me, who doesn't have a super large following of people, but still felt strongly enough about this movie to share it out to whoever it is, yelling into the void, that's organic word of mouth. Yeah. We went and saw it. We felt that it was good. We shared that ideal with people.
Right.
I think it has to leave a really strong impression on me to ever tell someone to go watch something.
Absolutely. Do you want to do super chats?
Sure. First, Yellow Fluffy Feathers sent $2 with a cute gif of a pear.
It looks like a pear. I think it's a pear.
Crystalline Evans sent $5.
Thank you, Crystalline.
Caper2X said, Brett, be aware. The Navy has approval rights over the script, or they would not allow the use of their ships, planes, and people. No overt politics.
Which is weird.
That was why.
Which is weirdly in contradiction with like the military ads we're seeing these days, which are weirdly overly political at times. So that's good though. That's if they're looking for something that's going to attract the highest number of people to the profession, like the original Top Gun did, then they want to appeal to everyone and not just one group of people. And people have to remember that this movie wasn't also a product of its time. I mean, the cast in this movie was extremely diverse. It was well made. All the, like, for instance, a lot of people would complain like it's a military movie. Like, there were women in the movie and all the women were highly capable and good at their jobs. Like, it's not like it was misogynistic, but it just wasn't.
And
overtly,
it wasn't in a one-upping manner. Like,
exactly.
That was not the focus.
I'm sure it wasn't like, you know what, we've never had a female flying captain before.
Exactly.
And I think it's time to change.
Yeah, even when they had the character of Hangman, who would have been like, you know, the chauvinist, who's always trying to one-up her, like, they didn't make that a thing.
Yep. And he was kind of like that with everyone.
He had that attitude towards everybody.
There was no character like, you don't deserve to be here because you're a woman. It was the point of it was that everyone here, there was another female who had less screen time than her, were all known as being, because they're all at Top Gun, flying for this mission, the best of the best in their fields.
There was also no condescension towards Tom Cruise's character because
he's old
of his age.
Exactly. All right, there's a couple more in there.
Yeah. Waffles Sensei said, the boys had a whole point about this in season 2, how corporate pays third-party groups make up memes that are not clever in order to manipulate the public into thinking ideas or bad movies are good.
It's an interesting world we live in now where they have like a second chance at making something win again just by like an overt meme strategy.
But then they had it flop again. Like,
dude, I'll never forget being 23 years old in my first job in an advertisement agency, making like a proposal to them, being like, we should market with memes before it becomes lame.
Yeah.
If you're the early adopter of this, you will be seen as cool, and then everyone will imitate, and then you were the cool person that started. And everyone was like, no one's ever going to use memes on social media.
Like literally the most
Yeah.
powerful form of thought transference and getting across ideas that there is through memes.
I know.
One of my oddly enough, one of my favorite memes is a meme about it's like a job advertisement for a meme maker for a company. It was like $60,000 to $80,000 a year, and it said, "Don't ever give up. Don't ever let your parents tell you to give up on your dreams of making memes for a living." So,
Marketing was mimetic before memes were even a thing. Yellow Fluffy Feathers sent $5 with a gif of hippos this time. Thank you.
thank you.
F off said the only people who hate watch stuff are the ones who have already paid for it, i.e. streaming service, free altogether, or the small group that will pay to talk crap.
Yeah, there's a growing. We've done a couple of videos on it, not recently. That there's a growing popularity for free streaming services like Tubi and Freevee and all these other sites that, a lot of people are like, look, I just don't want to pay $80 a month so that I can have every streaming service. I can stomach a couple of commercials from time to time. I myself cannot. I despise commercials. So I do pay out of pocket. But it's also... and yes, there is like a whole class of like really talented YouTubers who can like hate watch stuff and review it and make me laugh more than the show could have ever hoped to do. Even as awful as it was, they can make me laugh by watching Batwoman or these other awful shows that nobody actually likes.
I feel like that should be like Pop Culture Crisis bonus content. Is us three just hate watching stuff?
Brett couldn't take it.
I would lose.
You're not resilient enough for it. Unless we do it together and we're like laughing about it.
Yeah.
you know?
I would lose.
It's
my mind.
lighthearted.
I would absolutely lose my mind
You
if that
would?
happened. Yeah. I don't think I could do that. It would be very hard for me to not just walk out of the room.
Well, we'll call it Dana Mary Hate Things.
That's what makes it fun though, is
Yeah.
watching you.
I mean, yeah, if you want to watch, like, okay, there's a YouTuber that I really like named as Heel vs. Babyface, and he would watch.
Excuse me, what's it called?
Heel vs. Babyface is the name of his channel, and you can watch him watch like Batwoman and slowly now I'm sure some of it's performance, but I think a lot of it's like he's watching this truly awful show, and you kind of see him descending into madness.
Yeah,
because
that's
he's-
the whole appeal.
Like, I don't want to descend into madness for the
yeah,
the
it's already happening to you anyway.
I mean,
just slowly.
okay, fine. Let's
Let's accelerate that process.
Let's not. I want to increase my shelf life. Thank you. I want to increase my shelf life, not shorten it. There's one more in there.
Oh, the one that we just got.
Yeah.
Caber2X said, guys, what do you consider political? They see as patriotic and as a recruiting film. Age is not important. Experience and rank are. He is a captain. I think you meant to say what you guys consider political, they see as patriotic.
Yeah. Okay, I thought they were asking, like, what do we think is politically? I think there's a problem. We sometimes misinterpret social issues in politics. Like, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about whatever thing Disney's going through with Ron DeSantis. It's just not what I want to talk about here. I understand that there's a lot of people that do. But you cannot get away from the concept of social issues in movies and stuff like that. And for the most part, Top Gun stayed true to itself and what it was trying to portray. Like you said, Chain of Command, it felt very authentic and very real to me, even though I'm, having not served in the military, it felt real to me. It did not feel a victim of today's modern view of the world.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.